Hello humans, I'm Alora Scott, a storyteller, an illustrator, and a Saiyan. Because I love Peaky Blinders so much, I wrote and illustrated a story for y'all that was inspired by Tommy Shelby's cleverness. We start down here. Sonia huffed after pulling the cistern cover from the stone street. Even in the dark night, Sonia could see the disgust twisting Koju the merchant's face. Koju waved his triangle sword. "If I find you're trying to rob me or trick me." Sonia stood still, steadied his breath, and looked at Koju in his dark eyes. "I broke the law bringing you into the city. I wish to find the shrine as much as you do." Koju motioned him forward. After a few moments, "I suppose Karin the Clever would lead his followers through filth as some sort of perverse joke." Sonia climbed down the ladder into damp darkness, his young muscles smarting with soreness. Koju followed him down. The trickle of filthy water was the thing that they could hear and smell. They lit torches. Their surroundings were touched by yellow light. Koju shoved Sonia by the shoulder. "Take us there." Sonia led the man along down a stone walkway. A filthy stream trickled beside them. "I'll show you back once it's done," Sonia assured the man suddenly. "Play a trick on me and you'll be shown your entry pass in hell," Koju responded, shoving Sonia in the back again. Sonia stopped when they came to a dead end in the sewers. A wall lined with a walkway, black and nondescript as all the others. "Where is it?" Koju asked, snatching the torch and elbowing Sonia out the way. He held the torch up to the wall, looking for an entry. Sonia lit another torch. "Look," he instructed. Their torches shined on the wall on opposite ends. Etched in gold in the wall was the dim mural outlining the likeness of King Karin. "They're sconces," Sonia told Koju as he stood on his tiptoes and secured it to the wall. Koju stopped gaping at the mural and placed his torch on his side. "And a third," Sonia said, pointing at a sconce near the floor at the very center of the wall. Koju stooped down to light it, and the mural of the king shone glittering in black stone. "What now?" Koju the merchant asked, his voice trembling. "You have the key, yes?" Sonia asked the man. Koju reached into his satchel belt and retrieved Queen Oloro's flower, a gold pendant with a different color jewel for each of the 13 flower petals. He stared at it in his hands, contemplating. Then he turned to Sonia and shoved the gem into his grasp. "You do it." Sonia needed to be careful now. "I'm scared," he said, sounding all of his 14 years of age. Koju's eyes bulged in anger. "Don't make me kill you here when we've come this far." Sonia nodded his head sadly. "All right, Elder, I'll be brave." He made a scene of standing in the middle of the wall where the insert for the jewel stood empty. He pushed the flower into the center of the carving of Karin's nose. The gold etchings glowed in the darkness, and the mural morphed from black to a bleary clear. Sonia and Koju could see into the ancient shrine of King Karin the Clever, a rectangle of a room, as though it were deep underwater. Koju stopped Sonia from stepping back away from the magic wall. "Check the shrine!" He shoved the boy forward. Sonia dug his heels into the ground as Koju pushed him. "My mother will worry for me," he protested. "She'll worry more if I have to cut your throat," Koju grunted. "All right," Sonia shouted, shoving back into the older man. He grabbed the torch from the ground and held it before him. He pushed through the clear wall. His arm and torch appeared behind the blur. Slowly, Sonia sidestepped through the wall. His shoulder, his foot. Finally, he pressed half of his face through until his forehead and right eye were encased in what felt like solid honey. Sonia gasped. My gods! What do you see? Koju questioned. This is it, Sanya confirmed. I see the shrine, a great statue, treasures from every land. Sanya couldn't move, but he looked at the merchant with his left eye. You must go, Elder Koju. If I go any further, the king will take me and not you, Sanya urged. Koju stood beside him and took a shaky breath. He stepped forward cautiously, one leg, then his chest. Then he began pressing his face into the bleary wall. With his left hand, Sanya pushed Koju the merchant the rest of the way. A quick scream was the only sound the man made before he was sucked through, and the clear wall bled red. A deep, tremulous laugh roared in Sanya's left ear.
Wicked.
A deep rumbling voice sounded, and Sanya fell forward onto hard ground. The tinkling sound of Oloro's flower sounded beside him, where the jeweled pendant had fallen through. Behind him, Sanya saw a simple door had formed in the wall. But Sanya knew if he left now, he'd be lost forever. The room was an enormous dark hall. Sanya stood up, holding the flower of the queen in his hands. As he stepped forward, torches lit on the walls on either side of him. Within each circle of light, on pedestals, rested a historic treasure of the king. Let nothing distract you, Sanya whispered to himself, walking forward. He approached the shrine, a black stone offering table. Behind it, an enormous carved monument of Karin's skull that stood from the floor to the ceiling of the room. In the tabletop was a carved groove for Queen Oloro's flower. Sanya placed the jewel in the slot. The same booming voice called to Sanya.
Where is its origin?
The voice questioned, trembling the floor. Sanya raised his chin. Ideas spring from the heart and mind, like gold from molten rock, he answered back.
Very well. Make your wish.
The voice granted. Sanya waited for a long moment for the ritual to continue. Under his chin, the true skull of King Karin sat on the table, replacing the queen's flower. Sanya took the golden dipped skull into his hands. There were diamonds in the eye sockets. The teeth seemed to be pulled into a smile. Sanya looked into the diamond eyes. King Karin the Clever, he started, thinking of all the things he wanted in the world. He made his decision. I wish for more wishes, he said. A moment passed, then another. Then one red eye in Karin's skull flashed red. Thundering laughter shook the shrine room.
Clever boy.
The king's voice sent chills through Sanya.
Granted.
Sanya's breath left him in a rush. He squeezed the skull confidently. He wanted his family's home filled with gold. I wish for more wishes, Sanya's mouth blurted. The boy blinked and looked at the skull, whose eye flashed red again.
Granted.
King Karin's voice boomed. It was surely a mistake. Sanya had always wanted a camel of his own. I wish for more wishes, his lips and tongue requested automatically.
Granted.
The king responded. Ha! Sanya moaned, feeling his heart race. Perhaps he shouldn't be so selfish. He wanted his mother healed from her illness. I wish for more wishes, the words ripped from his mouth.
Granted.
Karin's voice roared. Sanya looked into the golden face of Karin the Clever skull. It seemed as if he was smiling more widely. Sanya wanted a boat for his father, a new younger brother, a diamond earring for himself. I wished for more wishes. I wished for more wishes. I wished for more wishes. His mouth was no longer his own. Sanya tried to throw the skull away, but it was stuck between his hands. He couldn't move his fingers. Tears rolled down his cheeks in rivers, and Sanya looked up at the statue of the great clever king. The boy fell to his knees, squeezing the trapped skull. What have you done to me? Why can't I let go? He asked, begged to know. Long moments passed before a heavy gust of wind blew through the room, whipping Sanya's clothes around his body. In his hands, the golden skull's diamond eyes glowed red.
You wished for more wishes, and they will be granted for as long as you desire.
So I really enjoyed writing that story. But give me your feedback, what are your thoughts on my writing style and what are your thoughts on my art style? I'd love your feedback. Now I challenge you story creators to create a story with a clever character yourself. It can be in any medium, just so long as the character is clever. If you like my writing style and you like my art style, I highly consider you getting my illustrated adult nerd romance, Niche Tales Under Her Skin. It's on my website, alorascott.com, and on Amazon. Okay, so that's it for this week. I want to thank you for joining me talking about a great show and letting me tell my story. And I hope that you'll subscribe and share and comment. Please follow me for more story talk and original stories. And I will see you all next time. Mwah. Thank you. Goodbye.